I haven't done one of these in a while. Countdowns usually I don't really tend to like to do, just because of all the opinions, the flack you get, plus just narrowing it down to two things you love so much, sometimes it's impossible to make a decision, and I don't want countdown lists on my channel to have a lot of ties. So this time I decided to go easy on myself and narrow it down to 3. The 3 I already knew in the top of my head for today's list, the top 3 greatest ever Castlevania games. Now I know some Castlevania games aren't fair to compare to others, like for example Castlevania on Game Boy, you can't really compare that to Symphony of the Night. The technology were leaps and bounds different, and everyone hates the original Castlevania Game Boy game anyways, so. With that being said though, that takes us to number 3. Castlevania Symphony of the Night. A lot of you would probably put this at the top of your list, as this is probably one of the most decorated and beloved in the entire franchise. However, on my list, it falls at number 3 strictly because, as a lot of people tend to like, I like the linear style of Castlevania preferably over this style, the Metroidvania. Now obviously it's number 3, and that without going said means it's a great game. I love the graphics, the sound is amazing and features one of my all-time, probably top 5 favorite Castlevania songs on the soundtrack, Lost Painting. Check that out if you never heard it. But with that minuscule gripe out of the way, Symphony of the Night is a masterpiece, one of the greatest games on the PSX. Released in '97, this took Castlevania to a whole nother level. Fans are obsessed with this game to this day as they still stream it to complete it 100% through. The first time I've ever seen leveling up in an item selection quest to this extent in a Castlevania game. And there is so much content to this, like you will spend so much time just messing around configuring with items and whatnot. And once you complete the game, it's common knowledge that you have to complete the entire castle again, backwards. It was the first time a Belmont wasn't the main protagonist. And you could be a Belmont, but you have to beat the game first to unlock Trevor. It's worth it, and it gives a more playability aspect. I highly recommend this, as of course I've put it number 3 on the list. But moving on the list, let's check out number 2. Released in '91, Super Castlevania 4 is in my book one of the greatest video games of all time. It made the leap from 8-bit to 16-bit in hardcore glory. Everything about the graphics are vibrant, beautiful, the details in the background, and let's talk about the control, the best part of the game. For the first time, you could whip your whip in 8 different directions based on the D-pad movements. This was awesome. You could even fool around with it too, like a little yo-yo. The music is some of the best on the Super Nintendo and definitely in video gaming. A lot of people fondly remember the intro. Nothing at the time was quite seen like it. This blew everyone's mind, including mine. So that's number 2, Super Castlevania 4. I had such a hard time narrowing this down to the top. This was my initial gut feeling one, but at the end of the day, I could never put a Castlevania game above Castlevania Bloodlines. That's right, if you guys know me or follow my channel, you pretty much knew what number 1 was going to be. I don't know what it is, there's just something about Bloodlines that makes it my favorite Castlevania game. The best music on the Genesis, in my opinion the best graphics on the Genesis, that true old school Castlevania feel in the gameplay. The 8-directional whipping movement's gone, but it's okay because you get the choice of 2 characters and one of them has a spear. It's a little different take on it, but it's good for replayability. The bosses can be extremely frustrating, but not too much. Some of the enemy placement's a little off, but that's fine. This is pretty much the perfect Castlevania game, and my all-time favorite, Castlevania. So there, it's in the books. I finally got a Castlevania countdown I can be happy with. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was tough, but I really did enjoy doing this video. Hey, if you guys have any suggestions for possible countdowns you'd like to see in the future on HIBIKI TMD, let me know. I have a really tough time narrowing stuff down, like I've said on and on in this video, but it's true. I don't want to do it half the time. I don't want to have to make a choice. How could I ever choose between a Mega Man 3 or 2? They're just both top-notch superior games.
Hey, what is going on here?